Has the horse already left the barn? Nearly a year after allowing college athletes to profit from their name, image, and likeness, the NCAA this week actually introduced guidelines that change the game and effectively remove boosters from the recruiting process. Also takes aim at collectives, which are large groups of boosters under a separate business entity, all with the aim of enticing athletes. So how do these rules impact what staunch Miami supporter John Ruiz is doing with Miami athletes in the name, image, and likeness space? Let's talk about it with the founder of MSP Recovery, the parent company of the digital health app LifeWallet, which sponsors Miami athletes. John, it's good to see you. Story after story reference you as a booster. Are you? And tell us about what you are doing with Miami athletes in the NIL space.
Well, thank you for the invitation, first of all. The name booster really has more to do with somebody who's boosting the athletics department. So what we really have is a business. So I don't know that you could actually define that as a booster because when you're actually making a real business transaction, an arm's length business transaction, the only thing you're doing is pretty much entering into an agreement for the name, image, and likeness of those particular athletes. So I don't know that that actually signifies that I would be termed a booster. I don't consider myself a booster, even though I like the University of Miami. A booster is somebody who gives money for no other reason than they want to boost the athletics departments of the particular school. We at LifeWallet and Cigarette are running it completely different. We enter into a quid pro quo agreement with these athletes where they get paid an amount for appearances, for promoting the product brand. And we're actually filming commercials. We're sending messages out as it relates to our particular brands. So it takes it out of that kind of view. But in addition to that, even if you were termed a booster, you have a right to contract with, athletes. And what is kind of odd about that is if anybody would say I was a booster, I would be a booster of the University of Miami. But the rules state that I can enter into an NIL with any athlete at any university, not just the University of Miami. And we have a number of deals with players outside of the University of Miami. And therefore, you couldn't reconcile the two. I think the term booster and collectives and 501c3s play more a role sort of with each other because of the fact that 501c3s and collectives have no other purpose than to provide money, i.e. that to me is a booster. LifeWallet and Cigarette is not a booster.
What you tweeted a few weeks ago is really what shook up the industry, if you will. You tweeted that LifeWallet was proud to announce Nigel Pack had committed to the U to play basketball, and it was on a 2-year, $800,000 deal that included a car. Now, to many, that looked like you were simply paying a kid to transfer to Miami. Have you heard from the NCAA? Do you expect to hear from the NCAA? And if so, what would you tell them in regard to their new rules?
So a couple of things. Number one, when I made that offer, Nigel Pack had already committed to the University of Miami. That's what people don't understand. These players are committing, weeks before, a week before we ever put a deal on the table for them. That's number one. So nobody ever made an offer to Nigel Pack for him to go to the University of Miami. He chose that on his own. As a matter of fact, I believe he tweeted or his representative stated that he wanted to go to the University of Miami no matter what. Now, the sort of quid pro quo, and I made a business decision to announce the amount of money that he was going to get under this agreement because I thought it was a great marketing move. And the reason why I thought it was a great marketing move is that Nigel Pack essentially was the number one player in the portal, arguably between number one and number two, but most of them had him at number one. And by tweeting that he was getting a deal, I thought it was a great marketing move, which ended up being a great marketing move because right now we're over 6 million, the interactions with that particular tweet by itself. Here's what happens now. So Nigel Pack, John Ruiz, LifeWallet, Cigarette, we're all going to be gauged by that particular number. Every single household in the U.S. that watches college sports, particularly college basketball, is going to be talking about LifeWallet. They're going to be talking about Cigarette. That's great marketing. because we are going to be in everybody's minds. And that's exactly why, at this point in time, LifeWallet is really taking over sort of the industry and the whole nation. Now, to go back to the NCAA, has the NCAA contacted me? No, I don't think they're going to contact me. And what I've heard from different people that are close with the NCAA is that they're actually looking at what I do as the standard, as a golden standard of how to do it, not of how not to do it. Because the reality of the situation is that we have real contracts, we have real deals, and we film everything, and we are super transparent. So you're looking at these players filming their commercials, learning, networking with themselves. It's a real quid pro quo, which is really what NIL is intended for.
And John, it's Josh Schaefer here in studio. I wanted to ask you about that part of it, right? We know you're getting the marketing out of it. You're getting social media impressions. How do you feel like it's impacting the company as a whole? MSP recovery, LifeWallet, we know the SPAC, it's set to probably close next week. It's going to be a public company soon. Do you feel like you're getting enough back out of this by doing these deals with the athletes? Is it really worth it, long-term sustainable for the bottom line of the company?
I think it's huge. I think it's probably the best marketing commitment I've made. When we started looking at how we were going to market for LifeWallet, we got a $1.6 million number for just 1 week worth of advertising on TV, radio, and social media. We're at about $5 million right now, give or take. And we have that for 1 year at least, sometimes 2 years. And this is a continuous, marketing campaign where I have these athletes for multiple years. And by the way, it's gone national to the point where it's viral. I don't think there's anybody in college sports that really follows college sports that doesn't know what LifeWallet is and what LifeWallet does and what it's about. I think it's been probably, like I said, the best marketing campaign I've ever done in my life. I think it has perpetual life. We are coming out next week with something called LifeWallet Sports, which is revolutionary of its kind. It involves businesses, it involves players, it involves granular vision into how these players sort of following is made up and how the businesses can derive profitability and be able to share and utilize these players for NIL. And it's very compliant with the law. So I think, from our vantage point, we would do it 10 times over again if we had to. I think it has been great.
It'll be interesting to see where the space goes. John Ruiz is the founder of MSP Recovery, parent company of LifeWallet. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.